So, who is Shiva? The supreme being in the Shaivism, one of the major traditions in Hinduism, believes that Shiva is the destroyer within the Trimurti, the Hindu trinity, which includes the Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesha. Shiva is the supreme lord, that's why we call him Mahadev, Devo ke Dev. He's the one who protects, and he's also the one who transforms the universe. But who is Shiva without Shakti? Shiva is lifeless, formless, and Shakti has divine forms, multitude of forms. So together, Shiva and Shakti are oneness. They may seem separate, but there is no separation indeed. Shiva is Shakti and Shakti is Shiva. So Shakti is the observation and Shiva is the observer. Shakti is the energy and Shiva is the awareness. When Shiva embraces the Shakti, she transforms into Devi, a goddess, a mother, a divine mother who provides, nurtures everything and sustains life. Who is Shiva without Shakti? An ordinary wanderer, a nomad, maybe an extraterrestrial, a one who is formless, a one who is not domesticated, a one who wanders in the forest and in crematoriums, a one who doesn't have any family, a one who is completely detached, a one who also adorns his Rudra Roop, a one who completely is a yogi, a Adi yogi. And when Shakti enters the life of Shiva, she transforms him also into a man who is domesticated, who is loving, who's caring, who's the nurturer, who's the provider, who's the one who sustains this life. So together, Shiva and Shakti are the force who are nourishing, providing, and caring for this world. And in my search to meet Shiva and Shakti, I landed up in Aurangabad at Ellora Caves, which are 300 CE old. And there I found the real jewel called the Kailasa Temple. And this video is dedicated to Kailasa Temple, my little tribute. Kailasa Temple is one of the largest rock-cut Hindu temples in the world. It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is almost unbelievable in that time somebody could think so advanced and could create something out of a single rock. It is being said that around 400,000 tons of rock was being carved out to cut this temple. The sheer brilliance of architecture and the size and the sculpture is unbelievable. It's almost like the civilization that existed we know little about. They were far ahead of us. They were far ahead in terms of their thought process, in terms of their accuracy, in terms of their planning, in terms of their architecture, and in terms of their execution. That too in a time when it is said it was only chisel and hammer to make this temple. The entire structure is made in a very scientific way. As you enter the main gate, there is a symbolicness of Goddess Ganga on your left and Goddess Yamuna on the right hand side of the main gateway, which means that you have to purify with the waters from the Ganga and the Yamuna to purify your soul and your being before you enter the divine complex of Kailasa. And as you take a step ahead, you come across a gigantic statue of Lord Ganesha on your left and Lord Kubera on your right, which also represents that money and wisdom, power and wisdom go hand in hand. This is so amazing. The entire concept of entering a divine premises with these gods and goddesses is so amazing. And as you walk ahead and turn towards your left, this is something which is the most unbelievable thing I have experienced and felt in my life. And I have been to a lot of temples, a lot of pilgrimages, but this experience was outstanding. You enter and you see two forms of Shiva, and these are again gigantic monolithic rock carvings. On your right hand side, you will see the Shiva as the Adi Yogi, and from his jata, which is the hair, is the entire creation of the world happening. And as you soak in that mesmerizing energy of the Shiva, the creator, the Adi Yogi, when you turn around, on your right opposite side is a Shiva in the Rudra roop, the destructor, the destroyer. The energy of those two sculptures is so high, is so huge, that it was almost unimaginable for me to be standing there for some more time, because the entire campus, specifically these two sculptures, were full of positive energy, were full of it almost felt like I'm in a quantum metaverse, It almost felt like that there must have been so many Adi yogis, so many sages, so many enlightened souls who would have been there, who would have done their tapasya in that place, and that energy is still reverberating in those rocks till today. Kailasa Temple, as the name sounds, it derives its name from Mount Kailasa. And as we all know that Mount Kailash Mansarovar is one of the most beautiful, fascinating and the most mystical places ever existed on in this planet Earth. There has not been any person in living body who has been able to climb Mount Kailasa, except one, a monk from Tibet, very long back. So it's being said that Kailasa Temple is a tribute and is also a lineage of Mount Kailasa, and the energy of Shiva and Parvati exists till today in Kailasa Temple. And I will not be surprised if somebody comes across and tells me the mystical powers which are there in Kailasa, because I myself felt those powers there. If we go and study Wikipedia, or if we see a lot of YouTube videos which are on Ellora Caves, we will understand that Ellora Caves is just not an architectural delight, but there is a lot of mystery around it. There is a lot of mysticism, and there is a lot of things that we as humankind, as a species, are not aware of. For example, there are a lot of these hidden pathways in caves which are still existing, though they are shut now, which are still existing in Ellora. These are tunnels, or these are leading to some other places underground. We do not know whether there is a different world altogether which existed below those caves. We do not know. Nobody has ever explored that. How are these sculptures being created? What was the technology that was being used? How could somebody, even if they have to deploy a full force, work so hard to cut out these rocks? And if these rocks were being cut out in those times, I'm talking about thousands and thousands of years old, where are those rocks which were being cut out being left? Where is the debris? There is no sign of the debris anywhere. And the way the pillars are standing, if you walk the complete hallway, it's so scientific that there's not an iota or an inch of inaccuracy there. All the pillars are created in such accuracy. The entire structure is created so that there is a natural ventilation of air, because Aurangabad as a city also gets heated it's quite hot in summer temperatures, but then still the way the entire temple structure is created, it sustains breeze, it sustains a cold environment, and also it's able to throw a natural sunlight even to the most darkest corners of the caves. So that is the science behind creating, and that too at that time when there was no 3D printing, there was no architectural tools, and there was no science to back them up, which means that we who think that we are the most smartest and the most intellectual races that existed, I think it's a time for us to take a pause and ponder that, do we really know what still exists in the universe? There are so many metaverses which exist. There is so much that the humankind doesn't know. So that's what Einstein said. to know that you do not know everything is the real truth. And as you move towards the left side, you see a complete panel which is very intricately sculptured, depicting the mythological tales from the Mahabharata. So actually on the either side of the Kailasa temple, you have one side which covers Mahabharata and the other side which covers Ramayana. It's so breathtaking, it's so mesmerizing. And as you walk the entire pathway, you will come across stories from the life of Shiva and Parvati. The detailing is mind-blowing. I clearly remember one particular sculpture in which Shiva and Parvati were getting married and there was Brahmaji in between, and because Devi Parvati was little nervous like a typical bride, so she had raised the thumb of her foot, which was such beautifully captured, and I felt that was a delight to see such detailing of the minutest expression of a bride who's about to get married. There are a lot of sculptures also about Ravana, how he was devoted to Lord Shiva, and why Lord Shiva is called Bholenath, because despite the fact that Ravana once actually shook up Mt Kailasa, but later on Lord Shiva forgave him and he blessed him as well with a Vardhan. So a lot of stories were covered, a lot of tales were covered. It was extremely fascinating to hear the stories from our guide who was actually a MA in history. Each and every relic, each and every piece had some energy and some description of the history which you really wanted to immerse into. Then as you walk from the left to the center side, it's largely dedicated to Shakti with lots of different forms of divine goddesses. And finally, you also see the Natraj roop of Shiva in the dance form. And as you walk towards the right hand side, the entire pathway is dedicated to different gods, to different gods actually. All I can say is that it's a jewel and it's a pride of our country. So it's my humble appeal to all the countrymen in India. Please take out time and spend some time at Ellora in Ajanta Caves. It's just not the architectural history of the country, it's just not the mythological history of the country, it's the hub of spirituality. It's basically where your roots come from. And I also request my friends, comrades and people at large from different countries and nationalities that whenever you come down to India, do fly down to Aurangabad and do stay some days and explore this beautiful, majestic, magnanimous, historical part of India, which is the Ellora Caves and the Kailasa Temple. Thank you. I would like to offer my prayers and my devotion to Lord Shiva and Maa Shakti and offer this Mahamrityunjay mantra for everybody who's listening and watching this video. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukmima Bandhanat Mrityu Mokshi Amamritat. Har Har Mahadev. May all be blessed, may all be happy, may all be prosperous, may all have His grace.